Thanks for tuning in. Today I'm sharing my top tips for luxury shopping in Paris. If you're tuning in for the first time, hi, I'm Katie. I like to do these luxury fashion videos here on YouTube. I share hauls and reviews, but at the end of the day, I share my journey so we can all mindfully curate our own collection. If you like what you're seeing, please subscribe to my channel, like this video, and leave a comment down below with any questions you may have about the Paris shopping experience. All of your support really means a lot to me. This is the last Paris-related video that I have planned for now. A lot of you mentioned that you wanted to see a video where I shared some of my tips. You also wanted to know how I planned for my trip and things like that. So I definitely wanted to share my luxury shopping tips, and then also some additional bits and things that I wasn't aware of or I didn't really think about, just so you know and you can account for as you plan your travels. There are a ton of boutiques in Paris for each brand, like even for Chanel. There's the original Rue Cambon, and then there's the 31 Rue Cambon, which I think is like right next to it. There's also like the Chanel boutiques inside the department stores. So Galeries Lafayette has one, Printemps has one, Le Bon Marché has one. There's also a Chanel boutique by Montaigne, Avenue Montaigne. There's also a Chanel boutique called something Royale or something like that. So there's a ton of different boutiques, similar to Hermes. Hermes has 3 different boutiques. I just shared a video on my thoughts across all 3 of those, so I will link that up above so you can hear more details. Celine had a couple locations. They also have a presence in the department stores, and each boutique carries slightly different stock. So if you're looking for something very specific, feel free to stop by more than one store. Not so much Chanel or Hermes, but I did notice other brands like Celine will be able to track down some more specific inventory and let you know if it is in a different boutique, even if it's inside a department store. Like there was something that I had seen online that I asked about with a specific size, and they looked it up in the boutique and they were like, oh, if you go to Galeries Lafayette, they have it there. If you're unable to find the item in the first store that you go to, don't be too disappointed, because you might be able to find it at a different location. There are a ton of stores, so it's always worth a shot. My next tip is, if you want a more calm shopping experience, then definitely go in the morning. Definitely go pretty much as soon as the store opens. I find that the boutiques definitely have a ton more people come through in the afternoon. Most boutiques, I believe, open around 10 or 11 a.m. I think it's worth going in the morning if you know you want to spend some good time at a boutique and be able to browse without like too many people and too much chaos. Then I definitely recommend you go earlier. That's what I did for the Hermes Sevres store. We went early, pretty much as soon as it opened, and we spent a few hours there. I did the same thing at the Chanel Rue Cambon store as well. They opened at 10. I think I got there at 10:20. It was pretty peaceful. I didn't have to wait to get helped by anybody, and I basically then went straight upstairs to the ready-to-wear, and I spent the rest of my time there, which was like a solid 3 hours there. So that leads me actually to my next tip. Unless you're looking for something very specific and you only want to purchase those specific items, expect your shopping trips to be a little bit longer than you're used to. At least than I was used to from shopping in the States. So I am what I call like a browser type. I don't know what I don't know. I don't know what I want, because I don't really go into the store with a very specific item in mind. Sometimes I do, but most of the time I like to just browse. I just like to see what's there. And a lot of times I'll get a little bit surprised by something, or I didn't know something existed, and then it catches my eye, or whatever it might be. I'm that kind of browsing style. I like to just go through the store, just see what's there, just get inspired by whatever is in the space. And so I found that it takes a while for me to be able to see things that I might be interested in, because they have a lot of stuff tucked away in the stock rooms, basically. They don't have everything on display. Hermes is especially like that as well, but I definitely remember my time at Chanel was like, you know, the sales associate was like, what are you looking for? You know, are you looking for cardigans? Are you looking for? And I was like, I don't even know what I'm looking for. So I started with like 1 or 2 areas, and I like tried some ready to wear on. When I moved over into looking at small leather goods and stuff like that, she was like, well, what are you looking for? Like, there's a lot more in the stock room that I can pull, but I just, you know, I need to know what you're looking for. So that did take a while, because she did then have to go back and forth between the stockroom. She'll pull some more items, she'll bring them out. I took a look, I shared some thoughts, and then it made me think about some other things that might be interesting to look at, or other colors that I would want to see. So then she would take those items back and bring some more items out. So it definitely took a while. Now I know, based on my experience there, like that I need to budget for a little bit more time to go shopping. I found that it took a while, and so in the time that I expected to go to maybe 2 or 3 stores, I was still at like 1.5 stores. Having said that, if you are looking for something very specific and that's really the only thing you're looking for, I mean, you can drive the sales appointment to be very short and very specific to your needs. It's just that as a browser type shopper that I am, I like to take my time looking at all of the items, and so that I noticed, I think a lot of the Paris boutiques are so accustomed to customers who come in and want to look at something very specific, like, you know, they're looking for a classic flap, or they're looking for a boy bag. Their sales style has really catered towards, what are you looking for? Let me show you what we have. And like, you know, and I'm just like, I don't know what I'm looking for. I don't know what I want. So it took a while. So my next tip is around tax-free shopping. The tax-free paperwork happens at the point of sale at the boutique, or within the designated de-tax department if you're in a department store. I did a whole dedicated tax-free shopping do's and don'ts video as well, so I'll link that up above so you can check that out. Or is it up this way? Up whichever way. So you can check out more details. I lay out the entire process, what to expect and all that good stuff. But remember that it does happen while you're shopping, so make sure to bring your passport with you so you can get your paperwork while you're making your purchases. The other tip I have is around maximizing loyalty points. This is specific to Le Bon Marché. Le Bon Marché has this concept called a privilege day. So you can sign up to be a part of their loyalty program. Anybody can do this. You don't have to be like a French resident to sign up. Really, anybody can. And as long as you spend 500 euros, then you kind of level up where you can designate a privilege day. A privilege day is like the equivalent of like the PowerPoints you can get at like a Bloomingdale's. It's also like a points booster you can get at Nordstrom. Like, those are like the equivalent kinds of things I can think of. But you can designate a privilege day, which means you ultimately will get, I think, 10% of your purchase for that whole day back as a gift card. So that's not insignificant by any means. That could be an extra pretty much 10%, you know, savings on on some of the big purchases you make. There are some brands that are excluded from this, so it's not necessarily every single brand. And I ended up not going down that route. I ended up not purchasing a big item that I thought I might. But if you are going to do that, I think you need at least a minimum of 3 days to be able to do your shopping. So the first day you would register and you would spend your 500 euros. Then the next day you could designate as your privilege day. And then the third day you would be able to redeem your gift card. You would need at least 3 days. So if you were leaving in 2 days, you could still do up to the privilege day. And I believe you can get your privilege points online. You can spend it at 24S, because 24S is the kind of sister online retail of Le Bon Marché department store. So there's that option as well, but if I were to do it, I would opt to have at least 3 full days where I'm still in France so I could go through the whole process and take advantage of those loyalty points. I didn't know about that until I went to France and I was in Le Bon Marché. Like, I was looking at stuff and all the sales associates were like, have you heard about Privilege Day? Like, I think Le Bon Marché is really the only department store that offers that kind of program. Nobody mentioned anything similar at Galeries Lafayette. They could have a similar loyalty program, but it might not be one that's as flexible for tourists to use as well. Oh, and then there's one more tip that I wanted to mention. It's to check the opening hours of the stores. Now, you might laugh. You might be like, yeah, of course. I'm so used to a lot of boutiques being open on Sundays. That's how a lot of boutiques operate in the States, at least. Hermes, I know, is closed on Sundays, so I didn't expect them to be open in France. But there are a good number of boutiques that were closed on Sundays. So that's just something to look into. I was going to go to Place Vendôme on Sunday, and then I found out the majority of the stores that I wanted to check out were actually closed in that area, so that's why I went to Galeries Lafayette instead. I could still see most of those boutiques. They were just not individual boutiques, and they were just all in the department store. So that's just something to keep in mind while you're planning your trip. I didn't realize how many stores would be closed on a Sunday. I think those are all of the tips that I have for luxury shopping. And then I just wanted to share some like general observations or general things that I think might be a little bit helpful. As I was planning this trip and as we were headed over to France, I was a little concerned about the language barrier. I also heard about how you might kind of get snuffed at for not speaking French, or that you might get a little attitude if you don't even try, or you might get attitude because your French is terrible. Like, I was hearing a whole bunch of things, but I didn't find that to be the case. I mean, even some of the French people were like, oh wow, you're from New York, and like, how's it in Paris? Were the people nice? Like, sometimes Parisians can be mean. And we were like, everybody's been fine, everybody's been lovely. So we didn't particularly run into anything like that, but we did make an honest effort every time we went in someplace or we left someplace. We would say our bonjour, bonsoir, and our mercis. Like, we would try. You know, my French is clearly not very good, but we did try. And I did notice that most people will start talking to you in French first. And then when you are like, that was me usually. I didn't know. I'd be like, I think I can understand what they're saying, but then I can't respond in French. Then they will quickly switch to English and they'll ask the same question in English. I almost appreciated that they started in French first. It almost felt like they didn't assume that you were a tourist, even though maybe they knew, maybe they could tell from like a mile away that I'm an American tourist in France. I chose to interpret it that way, at least, that they weren't really assuming that I was a tourist, assuming that I wouldn't speak French, and they kind of approached me like they would anybody else. And then once they realize, once it's confirmed you're not comfortable speaking French, then they'll switch to English. Just a funny story. This happens to me a lot, where I was shopping and then an Asian sales associate started talking to me in Chinese. This happened more than once. When I was like not really responding, she actually switched to French. And then when I was like, I don't speak French, then she finally went to English. She landed at the language that we could communicate on. And after like a few days of predominantly being like approached in French first and then English, I was a little like, oh, okay. So like, she totally assumed that I was Chinese, but then the problem was that she assumed incorrectly. And so I had that moment of like, oh, like this person like assumed who I was. That's what made me kind of appreciate the fact that more people would consistently start in French. It almost was like it took that assumption out and then would adjust accordingly. So no need to be intimidated by that. Most of the sales associates will speak English, conversational English. Like, you should be able to get through like your shopping, your food ordering, all of that pretty much with no problem. I think I might have talked about this one in my vlog itself, but it's regarding outdoor dining. Now, outdoor patio dining in France is like so iconic. I know it's like, it's so quintessentially French to be outside, kind of sipping your coffee while you have a pastry and you're just kind of looking out into the world. And I was so excited to do that. I did that the first dinner and I had a beautiful sunset. It was such a nice experience. But what they don't tell you is that the outdoor patio dining is also the smoking section. In the States, it's been a very long time since I've been in a dining location that coexists with smoking. It just hasn't been a thing for so long. So I sort of totally forgot about that part. So what they don't tell you while you're eating outside is that you'll also be eating with cigarette smoke, basically. That could be a total deal breaker for some. Some of you might not mind. Some of you might think it's like perfect heaven for you. Maybe that was very obvious to other people, but like, I don't know. I just didn't make that connection until I got there, and then I was like, oh, okay. So if you absolutely want to avoid that, then indoor dining is definitely for you. But if you don't mind that, if it doesn't bother you, then by all means, then the patio dining is like perfect for that. And I think the other main question that I get around my time at Paris was whether I felt safe or how I carried my items or how I took care of them or how I, made sure I didn't lose anything and stuff like that. I know we see and hear about lots of those unfortunate stories online. My friend even told me to be mindful of it. Actually, while I was shopping, there were sales associates that were telling me just to be mindful of stuff while I'm walking around, just in case. So I believe it. I know that stuff is real. There was no point in my trip where I felt self-conscious of what I was carrying, where I felt like I needed to safeguard it like extra or anything. I rode the metro and I carried my bags on the metro as well. So I was comfortable doing that, but I was also aware of the neighborhoods that I was going to. So I stayed in Saint-Germain, which is generally speaking, is a very nice neighborhood. It's close to some luxury shopping. It's close to Le Bon Marché department store. It's close to the Hermès Sevres store. So it's not exactly a tourist area, if that makes sense. It is a little bit more of like a residential space. That's how I felt, at least. And so I felt very safe carrying my items there and carrying them to and from on the metro for like a few stops. When I went to the Eiffel Tower, because that was such a landmark location and I knew there would be like a mix of all sorts of tourists and people, sellers, who are trying to sell like souvenirs or sell tours or, things like that. I made sure I wasn't wearing any branded items while I was at the Eiffel Tower specifically. But outside of that, dressed very similarly to how I would dress in New York City, and I carried my bags in comfort. I still live in New York City, so like I have a general awareness like around me at all times, just from living in a larger city like New York City. So I kept that with me, but so I wasn't like, throwing my things everywhere and just like, but I felt really safe. I felt very comfortable. I was very mindful of the places that I was going to, made sure I was appropriate for those settings. Dun, 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 dun. It is giveaway time! Yay! I'm super excited to be able to finally open up this giveaway. Thanks so much for your patience. This is intended to be my 5,000 subscriber giveaway, and I know we've way past that already, which is super exciting. All I can say is thank you so much to everybody who has joined this community, who has joined me on this journey. It's been a few years now, and it's definitely grown to be a lot more than I ever really imagined it to be. So I really wanted to say a big heartfelt thank you to all of you. I will admit there are days where I wonder why I'm doing any of this, why I'm spending so much time on my videos, why I'm there are days where it's really hard to plan and sit in front of the camera, edit all these videos and do all of this stuff, but I keep going because of all of you guys. I keep going because of all of the wonderful support I get from all of you, and just being able to have this kind of channel, this kind of open space where I'm able to talk about a lot of things that I'm excited about and be able to share that excitement with all of you. So thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you watched my haul, I did do a sneak peek of this little box right here. And inside this box is actually the grand prize. I felt like Celine is the perfect brand for the grand prize, because this recent trip to Paris was that moment, that inaugural moment for me, really, with Celine as a brand. So I thought it would be great to kind of commemorate that with you guys as well. So inside is this beautiful card holder that I'm going to hold very delicately. It's leather, it's their signature tan leather on one side and their monogram on the other side. It's one of my favorite card holder shapes, which has a mix of card slots, but also a zipper pouch, because you can fit so much in here, like so much. So I felt like this was such a gorgeous piece. I picked this up while I was in Paris specifically for this giveaway. And because 5,000 is such an amazing milestone, I wanted to have two prizes as part of this giveaway. The grand prize is the Celine card holder, and the next prize is actually this Dior tumbler. I'm not going to take it out of the case itself because I don't want to get like ridiculous fingerprints on it, but it is a really cool blue monogrammed Dior tumbler, and I have one from last summer. This brand is like amazing. It like keeps your water super cold for very long. And also very hot, but I mostly use it for cold beverages. So this will be the second prize as well. I will leave all of the specific giveaway instructions in the description box down below, so definitely open up the description box to check out all the T's and C's. But at a high level, to enter this giveaway, please subscribe to my channel, like this video, and leave a comment down below with a video suggestion that you have. It could be a specific item you would like me to review. It could be a specific type of video, like styling videos or travel vlogs or unboxings or something like that. It could be around a specific brand. Whatever idea you have, I would love to hear it, so please leave them in the comments down below. I also wanted to open up some bonus entries through Instagram. So I will have this photo posted on my Instagram. And this is the photo that you should like and also repost on your stories and tag me as well for an extra bonus entry. So this giveaway will be open for about a month. I will put the exact end date in the description box down below. And then just give me a couple of weeks after the giveaway closes for me to be able to just tally all of the entries and announce the winners. Good luck with the giveaway. I plan on doing more giveaways as I hit different milestones in the future as well, so definitely stay tuned for all of those. If you have any other questions, feel free to leave them down below or head on over to Instagram and I'd be happy to help however I can. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate all of your feedback and support. If you like this kind of content and you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I post new fashion related videos every Sunday and Wednesday. So until next time,